What's up, guys? Welcome back to another week of Health Unscripted with Dr. D. I am Dr. Ashley Dwyer, and this week I'm doing something different by having on a guest. Normally, it's just me yapping at you guys for like 20 minutes telling you about different things. We're already laughing. But this week, I want to start incorporating more guests, and who better to start off with than my coaches, our assistant coaches. I want to have them on each one by one so you guys can get to know them, meet them, get more in depth, just see their personalities, see how we jive, and then you can definitely tell what our team group chats are like. Already mayhem. I told her our first up, we're going to have Coach Launa on. So what's up, Coach Launa? Say hey.
What up?
Yeah, so Launa is based out of Texas. She's in Denton, Texas, and I'll have her tell you guys all about herself. But I do want to note, we've already had a conversation about like, I don't really edit these. So this should be like a really interesting episode. And Lana, I do also do video for YouTube. So all of this stuff will be
yeah.
and on the website. So, all right. So what I'm going to do today is just like a quick rundown with Coach Launa about getting to know her, coaching, etc. If we do break into tangents, which I'm really positive we're going to.
100%.
We'll go down those roads, and then it should just be a fun episode. So welcome, Lana. Can you first of all introduce yourself and just give us a little bit of nuggets about you?
A little bit of nuggets. What's up, guys? I am Lana. I am a former collegiate volleyball player who stumbled upon nutrition coaching, like just from my own devices, right? I found myself finishing playing college volleyball, and I like to name this girl. This girl's name was Love Handle Launa, right? Super regimented Monday through Friday. On the weekends, all bets were off, living that 21, 22-year-old lifestyle, right? And I really found myself getting to the point where I was missing that void of structure and having a coach that I grew up my whole life with, like from sports, from strength and conditioning, from college, all of that. And stumbled across a program called Camp Gladiator, which awoken like the sadistic athlete in me that loves torture.
Gladiator in you.
The gladiator in me came unleashed, right? And then I had a bunch of friends. They were like, oh, Lana, you should try CrossFit, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't want to look like a dude. I'm not going to do CrossFit. I don't want to get bulky, like the ignorant response, right? Of something that you're terrified of. So fast forward, ended up joining CrossFit, got into the nutrition space solely because I kept seeing my athletes come into the gym day after day, year after year, spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars annually on this fitness program that they really cared a lot about, but they were never seeing the physical benefits of their efforts pay off. And I was like, there's a gap somewhere, right? Like, I mean, you can't sit there and eat like a 13-year-old dude, but lift weights and expect your body to change in a positive note, you know?
What?
So I hired my first coach, and I was like, hey, I just want to be strong. I don't want to be skinny fat anymore. I don't know what I don't know, so I need help. Fast forward, oh God, maybe 13 years, and here we are, right? I got started in the nutrition space through an MLM.
I feel like you're answering all my other like questions already.
I got started in the nutrition space through an MLM nutrition company way back in grad school because somebody let me try a shake and I liked it, and it was better from a job standpoint than cleaning people's sweat off of tanning beds. Yeah. So spent years in that company in building my business there. And I really was like, you shouldn't have to rely on shakes and supplements to teach you the things that you need to know about nutrition. So that accompanied with the CrossFit gap, hired my own coach, and then really just kind of started asking my friends like, hey, can I write macros for you? Will you be my guinea pig? Like, and here we are 13 years later.
I love that it's been like 13 years because we kind of have similar path. I mean, I definitely did not play collegiate volleyball. For those who don't know, Coach Launa is 6'1". So she is a like model beast up there playing volleyball. So
big human.
Yeah, yeah, but like awesome. So I was definitely had on my list of questions to ask you, like share a little bit about your health journey and then share how you got started in the coaching industry. So we're gonna wrap this all into one because I want you to go a little bit more in depth. For those who like were listening, like Lana has the same type of backstory that a lot of us have, right? Like we were active when we were younger, maybe like we played some type of sport, even into college, right? Like I didn't play anything into college, but you were still more active. And then you were like, what do I do next? Like now I'm 22 or even 20, and you're like, now I have to be in control of my own health, right? So you kind of were doing the fad diets and even worked for an MLM. And I mean, everyone knows my opinion on MLMs, but I can't judge you. I will not judge past Lana.
Comparable views on MLMs.
So you started with all of that. And I mean, tell me a little bit more about like, so your health journey in particular, like you kind of had to go through the same battles and restrictions and all of that type of mindset. So can you talk a little bit more about like what you used to suffer with and like where you are now?
Yeah. Gosh, I'm trying to keep this short. So I have a graveyard. My graveyard probably has a graveyard of diets that I've done in the past, from replacing meals with supplements to the raw diet to everyone knows any CrossFitter that is very aged in the CrossFit world has done super obsessive restrictive paleo, to the zone diet, to the blocks, like how CrossFit teaches in the L1. And it really, it created over the course of like 10 years is kind of what I give my like adult dieting time frame. There was a lot of mistrust with myself, a lot of fear and anxiety when it came to social situations. Like I remember a specific instance where I was doing Herbalife. Oh, cat's out of the bag. It was Herbalife. Doing Herbalife, replacing 2 meals a day with a shake and then just eating healthy for dinner, right? But I found myself pulling myself out of social situations, not hanging out with my friends because I had to have a shake for dinner. And I wasn't equipped to deal with the comments, right? I was very, very vulnerable. Like, obviously, me dieting, me doing that came from a massive place of insecurity that in hindsight, I can name that. But in the moment, I didn't know. So I just didn't want to deal with it. So I'd be like, oh, yeah, y'all are going to dinner. Oh, I'll meet you after. And literally started to change my whole social life as someone in their early 20s to pull myself away from those situations around food because I didn't know how to eat. I didn't know how to trust myself outside of being dependent on a supplement. And I started to feel very, very restricted. I wasn't able to think for myself, right? I was actually, and I didn't realize it at the moment, but I was making myself stupider by diet jumping because okay, I would do this diet for X amount of time and I would have these rules. And then eventually I would stop seeing results. So then I'd say, screw it, take a massive break and then try a new diet. Yeah. And so over time, there's like this graveyard of rules that are in my subconscious that I'm like, I don't even know how I got to this point. I don't even know that, like, how to navigate a meal out, like, because there was so much mistrust and so much stuff going on in between my ears that I was debilitated.
So I want to like dive into that a little bit. Like you mentioned not trusting yourself a lot in your journey, right? Like back in the day is like mistrust. I didn't trust myself to order maybe correctly or what to order or what to eat because I was doing shakes, right? So how do you go from a place, because I'm sure many of our clients and our like people who listen in on the podcast can feel the same. They're like, yeah, I don't know if I trust myself to make the right decision because maybe I don't even know what that is, right? Like you don't know what you don't know, like we said. How did you go from no trust in yourself to now having complete trust in your choices?
I became a student. I
love that.
I hired a coach. I remember the first macro coach I hired ever, and I'll name drop. Her name was Nicole Capurso, way back before she was married and stuff, and founded her own company. And I just kept hearing stuff about macros, and I'm like, what's a macro? I don't eat macros. And now I realize how ignorant that sounded years later, but I had no idea. But what I knew is I wanted to feel in control, no matter if I was in the comfort of my own home or if I was out to eat. I wanted to see the efforts of all of the training I was doing in the gym pay off, right? I wanted to be able to PR my lifts. I wanted to be able to get my first ever bar muscle up. Like, I wanted a way where I could still have my goals and still have a social life and marry the two without feeling restricted. So before I even thought about coaching people, I probably had 5 or 6 macro coaches.
Oh,
I
wow.
was like, I got to learn. Like, and the only way, I'm a very visual, hands-on learner. I was like, the only way I'm going to learn this shit, like, oops, there it is.
No, you can say shit. It's fine. We say shit.
The only way I'm going to learn this, like, I'm not the kind of person that's going to sit online and research. Like, I need to see it. I need to learn from somebody, and then I can do it.
Yeah.
And for me, it was hiring a coach throughout the years and learning from each of them, learning what worked for me so that I could start to form my own story and help other people expedite the 10-year journey that I was in the middle of going through, right? Because it shouldn't have to take you 10 years to figure out how to trust yourself in a social situation, you know?
Well, I was gonna say, don't put parameters on yourself like that, because we all go through like the journey, right, of how long it takes. But essentially, you're saying it took you hiring a coach and then exploring more of a balanced way of eating, which is what macros are, which is what we do with our clients. And it sounds crazy because a lot of people will say like macros are disordered eating, but it actually, I mean, even in my case too, it brought you out of disordered eating. I would say skipping social events with friends is disordered eating, right? Like only relying on supplements and shakes is disordered eating. Like you were actually able to then make informed decisions and do what you did because of changing the trajectory of the plan you are on. And so the graveyard went away. But I do have one question that's like semi unrelated, but like, I know you're into CrossFit and stuff. Where did that come from?
Oh, way
'Cause I
back.
think you still do the workouts, right?
I sprinkle them in
Sprinkle.
here and there. Every time I'm like, oh, I work from home, I write my own programming. I'm like, I should join a CrossFit gym again just to be around the community. But then I'm like, yeah, probably not.
That's the last thing stressed out Launa needs right now is like,
good God, more stress. Yeah. So I found CrossFit, like got started with HIIT style training through Camp Gladiator, and living in Texas and starting this in the summer.
Oh Lord.
Awful. Like we were doing HIIT workouts at a park with like 5-pound dumbbells tops. Knowing me now, you're probably laughing hearing that, but I loved being able to go to a place, not have to think, having the programming written out for me and kind of going from there. I tried CrossFit one time, let my friends talk me into it, and having the coach, having the specific time domains, knowing the exact workouts I was doing, I fell in love because I was missing that from playing college sports. And then from there I was like, I can do this. So ended up getting my CrossFit coaching certification. That transformed into me coaching CrossFit, managing gyms. I've lived all over the country and managed gyms. And then that ended up over time, as I was getting better at CrossFit, learning more about nutrition through the coaches I hired. That kind of got me into, okay, we have the fitness on lock now, but what are you doing in the kitchen?
Yeah.
You know, so it kind of complemented it very, very well. And it was a great outlet for me at the time. Now, let me just lift and rest in between my lifts. Let me take the time. But I still have love for that style of training, just not as my main MO now.
I mean, I will definitely say CrossFit has it down when it comes to community and connection within their, within, what are they called? Boxes, within their boxes. I just had like a bad joke come to my head. This is where
you did.
Yeah, you did. Not fair. This is us unedited and it's just gonna flow. We're fine.
Yeah.
Um, but that's awesome. I still see some of the stuff you do online. That's why I'm like, which I think you should post more of you working out and stuff, because I do think clients like to see that. I know it's really strange sometimes, like we get clients who hire us for our body styles, even though they're totally different, or just the knowledge and credentials is what we want people to hire us for. Oh, by the way, since we're here, what are your certifications and credentials? Give me the list.
The list. So I have my bachelor's of science in psychology, and I always made a joke. I was like, I'm never going to use this.
I get my therapist all the time. What do you mean?
Yeah. So I have a bachelor's of science in psychology, a master's of science in sports management. So kinesiology with a concentration in sports management. I have my NASM certified personal trainer certification, also fitness nutrition specialist. What else? I've had my CrossFit L1 for the past 10 years. I keep renewing the L1 because I haven't been back to a gym, and I'm like, why do I need an L2? And then I'm also a certified moderation 365 nutrition consultant, one of the best certifications I've ever gotten. And then
we'll definitely dive into that later.
Yeah. Right now, I'm actually enrolled in the metabolic female certification through Dr. Jade Tita. So slowly trickling out that material. Certifications are always going to come because I'm a curious human.
We love the metabolism one. So I'm excited for her when she's taken the course through Jade, because I'm like, yes, the metabolic female. You're going to learn so much. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, as you guys know, if you are listening, you know that our coaching team has more of an emphasis on women 25 to 45 with all the metabolism and hormone stuff, right? So that's our shtick. I don't know why I'm using a lot of shtick words.
Shtick. My name's Ashley.
That's our shtick. And so we obviously want to know all about it. I learned a lot of it from pharmacy, but also taking certifications myself. So Launa, you have been a coach for how long now? Like officially?
Officially. So I started my own business part-time in 2016, went full-time in 2018, and I don't even know what year it is at this point.
I know, I'm like 2016 sounds like 4 years ago still. It's 7.
Yeah. So I've been full-time for 7 to 8 years doing my thing online.
That is freaking awesome. And what made you like transition into wanting to coach? I mean, you were in the gym space, right? So was that kind of a catalyst for it?
To coach online?
Yeah. Or just to like coach humans in general, whether it be like in person, not in person.
So growing up, obviously, like a lot of who I am is attributed to volleyball. So even when I was like playing college volleyball, I always found myself in some type of situation, like whether it was high school, my undergrad, whatever, I was always involved in some type of coaching, whether it was summer camps and like coaching people at different summer volleyball programs or taking on private lessons. There's something about me, I don't know what it is, like coaching is in my blood in some capacity, whether it's sport, whether it's like strength and conditioning, whether it's nutrition, that's just what lights me up. So knowing that about myself over the years, like if I had $1 for how many times somebody was like, Lana, why don't you just teach and coach? I'm like, no, probably not. So of course I had to find my own way to make it make sense, you know?
Right.
And as much as I love in coaching person and that like in-person connection, whether it's through sport or strength and conditioning, I really loved the flexibility to be able to be remote, to be able to work with people overseas. Like a lot of my clients right now are flight attendants and they're crazy and traveling to and from. And COVID really reminded me of that. Like, hey, I can still do this without having to physically be in person. And so it's just been a long journey of trying to figure out what works best for me and to find the balance with it all. And I'm glad I'm here because
I was going to say, are you an Enneagram 2?
You know, every time you ask me, I feel like you asked that. I think I'm a blend of like 4.
I just need to remember. I keep forgetting apparently.
I do
'Cause
too. I think 3 or 7 was the most dominant. I need to retake it.
I only say that because people who have the capacity to really help other people are generally 2s. Like I might be a 3, but I'm a wing 2. So obviously like that falls into line. And I'm like, a lot of this sounds familiar.
Yeah.
So
I
it
mean,
obviously makes you a good coach. Plus, I know you mentioned that you coach volleyball, and for people who don't know, you literally just ended that in June. Like you just ended your summer season.
yes.
Okay, more
Yeah.
details on that.
Yeah, it was a lot. So, in the fall of last year, like I had been, what, 7 years into doing this in the online space through a pandemic, all of that. And I owned and operated my own business and was wearing literally all of the hats to the point to where I couldn't even see my head anymore. Like I just had so many hats between like all of the logistics, payroll, launches, creating content, posting on social media, and it it took a toll on me. You want to talk about stress on the body. It started to feel very lonely, very isolating. And one of the things that I preach to my clients all the time is if you want a different result, you have to take a different action. And I'm the kind of psycho like I get energy and I feel more like me when I'm physically surrounded by people. So I had do what?
I said, me too. We're the
I
same.
know. I had just, well, like I guess 2 years prior to, moved back to the Denton area, which is where I went to college. And I was like, I have no circle of influence. I could walk down the street, nobody would know who I am, which was kind of good. But I was like, I need to kind of reestablish this. I need to get out of the house. I need to get in front of people. So I started coaching club volleyball. Started the season coaching one team and then doing nutrition coaching, all of that. By the end of the season, I had 2 teams, full-time client roster, and was traveling a lot. Like I think in the month of June, I was maybe home for 6 days collectively. It was a lot.
June wrecked us. I know you especially. I was like, hey Lana, we're just gonna like, I'm gonna give you 20 clients. You're ready.
I was like, please. Yeah, it was a lot, but it's over.
We got
And
through it.
we survived. We survived. So now obviously like with the trajectory of the business and everything that's going on in the online space right now, I had to make another choice and set another boundary. So taking a beat from volleyball to be able to coach, focus on my clients, to coach them, to give them the stuff that they need. But I'm very grateful for that time because anytime you take on a new endeavor, it calls for a different version of yourself, right? And if it's uncomfortable, you get to see the shit that you're made of. And I was made of a lot of psychotic mental breakdowns, but
Florence, stop it. I mean, listen, I had, like I said, you were my therapist because I was also having the same, well, same but different type of breakdowns with like managing other stuff that happened in June, right? Like just the whole transitioning of teams and staff and all of that. So this is what's awesome about the team and why I wanted to bring you guys on here specifically, like individually, is because we do kind of lean on each other, try and take care of each other. Like this is what's so great about having a team and not just being on your own. I've been on my own before doing the business thing, wearing all the hats as well, right? It's a lot. It's for sure a lot. And for those who don't know, like Lana said, she used to own her own company. And then somehow through like the powers of mutual friends and mastermind groups that we were both in, like I happened to be looking for a coach last year at the end of the year. And Lana was like, maybe I want to join a team again. And then we kind of like met up and chatted and here we are.
Here we are. Who would have thought that Clubhouse back in the day would have brought us to this point.
Dude, I was just at Perform Better and like ran into Sarah and Lawrence, were two other people I used to do clubhouse rooms with. And I was like, what are the chances? Like, I had no idea they were going to be there. They were like, Clubhouse 2020. I was like, oh, the pandemic Clubhouse was so great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we met 3 years ago in like a modern day chat room, like ASL. What are
Telling like a catfish story.
your picture on there? But we
Yeah.
also met through mutual friends because you had worked with Jill Coleman. I was working with Jill last year, right? So we all kind of like knew similar people. But what do you feel like now is the biggest shift for you in doing it on your own versus now like joining a team or joining our team?
I think it has been a godsend. Just because,
You don't have
like
to
I
laugh.
said,
No, I'm kidding.
I think the feelings of isolation and just feeling like the weight of the world was on my shoulders, and it was consistently up to me to do all of the things. Obviously I have a very dominant personality and it takes a lot for me to ask for help. But I just knew operating at the capacity that I was by myself wasn't going to be sustainable 3-4 years down the road. And I honestly, I think we started conversations maybe in like November.
Yeah.
And it wasn't official until the beginning of the year, but I had no idea if this was going to work. To be honest, I was like, I don't even know what this looks like, but I just had this feeling that I needed to do something else, and it felt like the right place. Like, obviously you and I are very similar. Our personalities mesh very well.
Hey.
And I think just being able to have a team, first and foremost, that it's not just you. Everyone has their own shit that they bring to the table and that you can learn from. And like I said earlier, I'm a very curious person. And so there's things that Coach Emily has that I would never even think of. Same with Coach Nikki, same with you. Like, and so just to be able to have that team environment and know that you don't have to do it on your own. There is that support system independent of whatever mastermind group that you're in, etc., and all be on the same page and moving in a forward trajectory together was something that I really missed and didn't even know it. And this is my first nutrition coaching team I have ever joined in my life.
Yay. All I wanted to do was like hashtag Nuck if you buck.
Hashtag thinking. Yeah.
Hashtag fuck your alpaca.
Fuck your alpaca.
See us posting those on our posts. They're obviously inside jokes, but
oh, dude, my reel today, I almost did the audio of Nuck if you buck, and I was like, that's a little aggressive for client transformations without caffeine today. So it'll come later this week.
So if she had caffeine, guys, you would have heard Nuck if you buck.
You would.
So disappointed, but we are very passionate and a lot about our client transformations, and kind of even what you were just saying about being part of a team and having similar things or learning from each other on the team, moving forward together in the same kind of goals. That all describes, like, this is what makes me so happy, because obviously coaches have coaches, right? You're a coach. What you just described is also what I have wanted to form the team into and have that be the culture of the team. So even when clients come and join the team, they're learning from other clients. They have people in the same, okay, I have to take off these headphones because my piercing is just like not having it. Anyway, they are here with people that they are learning from. They're all moving forward in the same or similar goals. So it's the same concept, whether you're a coach, a business owner, like community and motivation and people on the same trajectory as you are always going to amplify your results, right? Like you're always going to feel better in that type of situation.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I fell in love with CrossFit so much back in the day, is because, okay, I use this example all the time. Like, what you pay for, you pay attention to. So like, say you have a Planet Fitness membership, right? $10 a month. It's cold as shit outside. It's the winter. Like, it's 5 a.m. Your alarm goes off. $10 a month, you don't really have much to lose, right? You could easily snooze your alarm. Nobody is going to check in on you, right? However, you're an avid 5 a.m. CrossFitter, you're spending $150 to $195 a month on your membership, and you have your group of people that you train with regularly. You snooze at 5 a.m., you're going to get all of these texts like, bro, where you at? What happened? Are you slacking? Probably an extensive amount of shit talking goes off. And I think that's what was so attractive to me about BDN, because not only is there a team of coaches right there that are in the trenches with you, right? But then you have that full community of people that you want to not have to show up for every single day. And I think that was like one of the main things that I didn't even realize it was going to be, but I was like, oh my God, I love this, like it's not just about me. This is about everyone, the team, the collective, and being able to have that in CrossFit, but then find it in the nutrition space was like, I was like, all right, I'm in, I'm done. Let's go.
Y'all, I will admit that if I don't hear from Launa by like 8:30 in the morning, I'm like, hello, are you alive?
Hi, time zone difference. Yeah.
Like, what's going on in our team chat right now? Hello.
Hello.
You know what's crazy? And this is what I do. And she's heard me say it a million times too with clients, and like them missing out and getting what you pay for. I went to a seminar over the weekend, like Perform Better seminar. And one of the speakers was talking about how his gym, they're like one of their marketing points. And I love this because I was like, we unknowingly do this, but they were like, we will track you down. Like if you try and leave, we will track you. And I was like, dude, I do this.
Like, literally going back to our conversations, like, no, haven't heard from Susie Q in a week. Okay, cool. I'll text her today. You text her tomorrow. We will find you.
If it even gets to a week, like if you miss your check-in, I am like there that day, like, you didn't submit your check-in. The next day, I didn't hear from you. Hello. If you don't answer WhatsApp, I'm texting you. I'll be in your DMs on Instagram.
I see you eating that cake, girl. Where you at?
I will find you. What is that?
Y'all, one of the things you don't know about me and Ashley is the ability to be like next level creepy. Like, we will find you.
Listen, I should have been an FBI agent. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
I mean, I need to be a co-host on Catfish, I think. Like, I will
be fun.
I'll get them.
That would be really fun. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's obviously still on people to want to be here and want to be accountable to themselves. But I do love again, I'm going to use the marketing shtick. I do love that, like, even though it's online and remote, we will bother the hell out of you. Like, you are not allowed to quit.
Respectfully bother the hell out of you.
All right, let's get into like something like in the health and fitness industry, your opinions. Like, what do you think is one thing that is super, or if you have multiple, but we'll start with one that you think is super misunderstood in the health and fitness industry, that if you could like wave a magic wand, it would just go away?
Carbs do not make you gain body fat.
Yay!
They are not the devil. In fact, they're your body's primary preferred source of energy. Injury.
I'm not editing that out.
Your body needs carbs for you to not be a psychopath. They did not do anything wrong to you. Like, let's not demoralize them. Let's figure out how much your body needs, right? But let's stop swearing off full food groups just because of a probability that maybe the article you read online has some little tiny shred of merit to it. Let's stop. Let's just learn how to eat.
I can't believe it's 2023 and we're still like demonizing carbs. Like, why are they still on the back burner?
Because here's the deal, and this will be the last thing I say about this.
Let's go.
Dietary fat literally holds double plus some the amount of energy that 1 gram of protein or carbohydrates do. So why are carbs the bad guy in this situation? Like, it makes no sense. Carbs, sweet potato never made anybody fat.
It's because people are not eating sweet potatoes. people are eating, donuts and chips and all of that. And I think, you're definitely going to agree with this, but you have the people online who are demonizing carbs to sell their keto plans and sell their carnivore plans. And it's a good marketing tool for other people to use to scare people. Fear mongering is still very real all over.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, like valid marketing technique. I've used it many times before, but kind of villainizing the keto diet, right? Like, yeah, you may learn how to not eat like a dickhead eating keto. Great for that. However, what happens when you walk into Olive Garden and you smell a breadstick after months of being keto and breadsticks are your jam? What happens then?
You know what? I'm going to disagree with you on eating like a dick for keto, because anybody who eats sticks of butter or like cheese.
Okay, I mean, let me edit. Teaches you how to pay attention to what is in your food a little bit.
Okay, so more mindful eating.
More mindful versus going through the McDonald's drive-through.
Yeah. So speaking of mindful eating, one of the last things I want you to kind of like speak on is, obviously you said you are certified in Moderation 365. What is that, if you can explain it to people who don't know? And then how do you utilize, because obviously we use macros in TeamBDN, and how do you use that to shift clients maybe away from macros, or where sometimes macros aren't important or not appropriate, because again, we can't just jump into intuitive eating, right? So if you could explain Moderation 365.
So Moderation 365 it's a curriculum founded by Jill Coleman. Love me some Jill. But it is kind of a food behavior psychology course where you have kind of some of the qualifications that I look for in clients to know that they're ready to take this on. They've tracked macros before, so they know that peanut butter isn't a quality, like sufficient amount of protein, right? Peanut butter gate, right? So you have a general understanding of food awareness from a macro standpoint. Like, I will not even think about taking a client through the Moderation 365 curriculum if they haven't tracked for 6 to 9 months, right? So really what we do is we tap into a little bit of food behavior psychology, emotional eating. What are your triggers? What are some food rules? I know I kind of touched on this earlier about like dieting made me dumber, right? Like, here's a strict set of rules. Here's another strict set of rules. Here's another one, right? And so subconsciously, 15 years later, I probably have in the back of my head, because I do, don't eat past 6 p.m. Like, oh, it'll make you fat. Don't exceed your number of calories and milligrams of sodium. Don't eat too much protein. It'll make you look like a dude. Like, diet soda will kill you. Do not ever drink a diet soda. Like, all of these different things that the diet industry has marketed fear, right? And how to focus on the shit that really, really matters when it comes to the big dial movers for your goals, and giving yourself permission to not stress about these little micro things that aren't really going to move the dial in the grand scheme of a year. And so you want to talk about using a psychology degree. It's definitely therapeutic. Like, I actually was just messaging one of my clients. She's a flight attendant, and travels overseas. She's a private flight attendant. And she was like, yeah, these pilots, like, whenever they get off work, they just want to go and drink and blah, 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 blah. And I'm trying to follow my protocols. And they got mad at me because I wouldn't drink with them last night. I stopped at 1 glass. And we started talking about food pushers and how, like, food FOMO is a real thing. And what do you do in these situations? And so we were talking through kind of like, hey, take the power lead. This is a term coined by a positive psychologist that's really just comes down to you setting your boundaries. Like, hey, I'm not trying to be perfect with the way that I eat, but I'm also not trying to eat like a 13-year-old dude. I'm having my veggies, and if I want a glass of wine later, I'm going to. So this is what works for me, period. And standing firm in your decision, and then setting that boundary and people are going to shut up. So we do a lot of situational eating, old food narratives, food rules, and hey, what are your daily non-negotiables? How can we generate the same level of satisfaction when it comes to the way that you eat on Monday afternoon that we can Saturday morning or Friday night? How do we even out the highs and lows? And how do we simplify nutrition so the way you eat is just the way you eat? We're never deprived. We're never restrictive. We're never overdoing it. How do we navigate the middle with that?
Yeah, I think what you brought up too, like, first of all, I love all of that because that's all super conducive to results. It's a lot of mindset. Like you said, it's a lot of mental psychology. And one of the things that sounds super easy to do is like you just set a boundary and say no. So many people, I mean, we see it in our clients, but so many women especially have trouble setting boundaries, right? So while we're not like therapists or psychologists, we help you create the awareness that you're missing that boundary, right? And then how to slowly get the reps in to feel comfortable enough exerting that boundary within practice after practice after practice, right? Because I'm sure it's really uncomfortable to go to like your client, like her boss or the pilot or something, and be like, all right, I'll have like one more, instead of like, no, I'm firmly stopping at one. Like, I get pushback too of like, you're no fun anymore. I'm like, tell that to my abs. No, I'm kidding. But it's like, leave it alone. Like, I have clients who go through the same thing. And I think it's really helpful to have someone in your corner, like your coach, who can give you a step-by-step playbook or just be there for reassurance when you're not feeling so confident that you can make that decision or say no. Launa, I do want you to explain one thing. Speaking of cursing, it's something that you termed that I love, and it's called your fuck it number. We use this with clients now. It's called the fuck it. It's very professional, y'all.
I am the epitome of professional. So
Yeah.
no, I love this. And like anyone who, if you're listening to this and you've worked with me before, you're probably laughing right now because of the way my brain works. But over the years, and like this was something that came to me, probably when I was trying to go to bed one night, but this is a toy. We need to copyright this. But what the fuck it number is, and I'm sorry if you're easily offended, but there's no other way of sugarcoating.
They don't listen to me if they're easily offended.
Yeah. Okay, so the fuck it number it's related to alcohol, right? So when you're in a social situation, how many drinks, and this is 100% subjective to the person, right? How many drinks does it take for you to stop giving a fuck about what you're putting in your mouth? It's going to be relative to the individual. So say your fuck it number is 4 drinks. After you finish your 4th drink, you're eating Cheez-Its, you're going through the Taco Bell drive-through, all bets are off. You do not give even the smallest fuck what you're putting in your mouth. Okay? So your fuck it number drink is 4. That's your knowable about yourself. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to reverse engineer the day. We are going to stop at 3 drinks. We're going to come from a place of abundance, give yourself permission. We're going to allow 3 drinks. But here's how this evening is going to look. Say you're at a happy hour, you're at a baby shower, or I don't know if you're boozing it up at a baby shower, but whatever it is, whatever social event you're at, that would be the only way I'd get through. So say you're at a happy hour, right? Coworkers, we're all going out, whatever. You're going to sit down, give yourself permission, order your drink. Let's try to keep it clear liquors, 0-calorie mixers, etc. You're going to slowly drink your drink, order your food. In between the finished drink and you ordering the next, you're going to chug about 20 ounces of water. Just sip on it. But I think the main thing is whenever we start to get in these social situations, we tend to say, hey, I need this in order to get this experience, when really that's a false narrative that we've made up in our head, right? So focusing on the conversation, who you're with, because that's the whole intent of going out anyway, right? It's not just to get trash around your coworkers. So, okay, we're going to focus on the conversation. We're going to be present. We're not going to be on our phone, and we're going to have 20 ounces of water in between our drink. Okay. Food comes, we order another drink, we sip on our drink while we have the food, etc. Drink another glass of water. Then, because if you have that coworker, Karen's probably over there on her 6th shot, right? So you're not getting out of there anytime soon. So take a beat, then ask for another drink. That's going to be your last drink. That'll kind of take you through the remainder of the thing. Then you switch to water. 9 times out of 10, if you're doing clear liquor and 0-calorie mixers, your wasted coworkers aren't even going to know what you're drinking, right? And if they are, they're probably going to make a comment, whether it's water, whether it's a beer, whatever it is, right? So knowing that your fucking number is 4, you're going to allow yourself 3 drinks. If you're a macro client, you're going to go in and pre-log those 3 drinks, right? And then you're just going to pace yourself. It doesn't have to be no drinks at all, or, oh my God, I'm so hungover, I can't function, because a hangover at 35 is awful, right? Yeah. And we're trying to find that middle ground so that you're able to build trust with yourself around a food that the diet industry has deemed very, very illicit. Or, hey, we can't do this, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're like, I'm not drinking, then the second you get around booze again, there's going to be a ton of mistrust with yourself. There's going to be fear. There's going to be anxiety. You're not going to feel confident in making decisions for yourself. So that's the fuck it number.
I love it.
Mine is
2. Mine is 2.
Oh God.
No, I'm just kidding. Mine is 3. So I can have 2 drinks. I can have 2.
Yeah.
I do want to say, as far as like alcohol, because the podcast right before this, before we're airing this one, was alcohol. So while we do promote like moderation and pre-tracking to make sure it fits and whatever, this cannot be a daily thing, y'all. The bucket number is not a daily thing.
No.
Awesome. Launa, this has been great. I do want to give you a chance for people, if they don't already, I'll have it in the show notes, but tell people where they can find you on socials to see all your stuff and learn more about you.
My handle is at LAUNAJAE_. Same thing on Facebook. Tall, big blonde. You can't miss me.
Tall, big blonde. And if people have questions about this episode, can they slide into the DMs?
Please do. I'm a very talkative human. Let's chat about it.
Amazing.
I want to know, if you are listening to this, I want you to slide into my DM and let me know what your fucking number is.
Oh, I like that. All right, everyone report your fucking numbers. Should we curse on this to FFFF?
It's like, this is unedited. I was like, oh, okay, great.
I mean, you know, there's no rules on the podcast network. Guys, we are going to wrap it up because I do want to keep these like pretty short, but if you are interested in working with Coach Launa, whether that be on setting boundaries, macros, you're an athlete in the space, you're just looking to improve your relationship with food, sway away from macros, all of that, her roster has opened as of last week. So now she has some spots on her roster. So go ahead. I'm going to include in the show notes an application to apply. And then there is a spot where you can put like which coach you would like to work with or what your goals are. So thank you so much for being on the podcast, Launa.
This was fun. I feel like once a month we need to just do a like collaborative rant.
You know, you see, this is how podcasts get started. And then we're going to eventually have a joint one. And then we're going to talk about all things from like dating to nutrition to just like, you know, and especially if I haven't put this out into the universe yet, but if I move to Texas, I haven't put this out like, you know, onto the world, but now it is. We're going to be very close to each other too. So
yeah. And if y'all thought the banter between me and Ashley was funny, like, let's just get on the topic of dating.
Also, it's funny that we've met once in person before we were working together. And it was
last June.
Yeah, but we kind of like said hey and whatever, but we didn't have this level of debauchery yet.
Yeah. And nobody knew.
All right. Team retreat coming soon.
Good God. I mean, I already have a powder puff football game planned. You group chats, Ashley, last week.
All you have to tell me is there's a flag football game and I am making it happen.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's totally happening. Go look back in the Team Launa chat. That group gets wild.
I'm gonna have to look at it. Some of the stuff that goes down in the Team Launa chat is
I'm not
remarkable.
I'm not responsible for it all, but it is very
You're not.
entertaining.
You're really not. That's what makes it amazing.
I know.
All right, guys. See, we have fun every single day, and so does the group chat. So until next week, I don't know what the topic will be next week. It could be Coach Emily's interview. It could be a topic in between, but I hope you guys like this episode. If you do, leave us a review, leave 5 stars if you can. It really helps get the podcast out there. Take a screenshot, tag us on Instagram. The handles will be in the show notes, and just let us know that you listened and enjoyed. Talk to you guys later. Bye.